Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We are live, and it is Friday night, and it's the last week of our hashtag D2 anniversary. And I hope you've all had just as much fun during this month of celebrating all that is D2A with us and having fun. And also the hashtags. I've been seeing a lot of them in the chat already. This is awesome. Of course, we got the hashtag D2 anniversary, the hashtag China Sticks, hashtag give Nico a job. And, of course, I'm going to be a little selfish here. Hashtag future Schmodown champ, this guy. But, of course, we have a little bit of a lighter panel. But that doesn't mean that we are light on content. Doesn't mean that we are light on thorough, deep discussion. And that is what tonight is going to be. As I throw it over to my co-host for the evening, Kees Cornelisse. Kees, would you say that that's pretty accurate for how tonight's going to be? Just a thorough, deep dive into conversation.
That's what she said. Thorough, deep. We have a lot to talk about, especially with the with the topic that we have about our hot takes, our unpopular opinions about movies, where everyone has those movies that they see and then are like, is this one of the greatest movies of all time? I don't get it. Or they're like, this movie's supposed to be terrible. So that's going to be fun. I've had a pretty good week. I have the night shift. I'm always happy when I have that, because then I have a long weekend, kind of. And also, South Park is back. Yay. Oh, okay. Yay for the fact that South Park is back. Not yay for the episode itself. South Park, the episode was in my opinion. Some funny moments, but it kind of showed that Matt and Trey are not entirely behind the show anymore, and that they're kind of done. But that might have just been this one episode. We'll see. Also, today marks the 5-year anniversary of Star Wars Rebels, a show we both love. That started 5 years ago. And speaking of, Resistance is back in 1 week. Next week, we'll be reviewing Resistance again, so
yes,
that's going to be exciting.
I am so excited for that. Like, it's kind of not even funny, because this show kind of just took over our lives for the whole entire first season.
It is the reason that Nico is on this channel.
It is like it's kind of it kind of is the show that brought us all together. So let's just hope that once it ends, it doesn't mean the end of our run that we've all got going here. But no, it won't, because look, we love everyone here. We love Nico and his sometimes hot takes about Schmodown stuff, which that's not going away anytime soon.
His hot takes about pretty much everything.
Pretty much, but in a strange way, that's kind of why I love him.
No, that's true. But he has some weird opinions sometimes that you're like, okay, you can't believe that. That's a thing you can have an opinion on, I guess.
I mean, the bias is totally there, but what are you gonna do?
Sure.
To
be fair, everyone has a bias.
Oh yeah. Andrew Guy, what?
Huh? What?
But yeah, no. And today's actually gonna be quite crazy for me as far as scheduling goes, because obviously we have this show right now. We'll be done here around the usual time. And then as soon as we're done here, I'm going to have to pretty much jump right off the call and go head over to our dear frenemies call to action, who they invited myself and a bunch of the other Schmodown reactors to do basically a charity stream for Paul Preston's wife, who unfortunately was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So that reminds me, guys, I need to put a link in the chat so that way you guys can just give them a little support. If you're able to help them at all, every little bit helps. But yeah, so we'll be doing that later tonight, and that's gonna be fun. We're gonna be talking about a lot of Schmodown stuff. And I just want this fucking match to air. Like, seriously. I'm going crazy. Because Kalinowski and Janine, too. I don't know if you've been watching a lot of the Twitter between these two, but oh my God.
Not just also Facebook.
Oh, yeah. No. It is nuts. It is effing nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, can this match just freaking air?
The amount of white bread and vanilla ice that I've seen thrown around is immeasurable.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, guys in the chat, I just put the link in the chat that you can go to if you want to help out with that, or it'll be there all night when Dylan, Albert from John Movies, Doug Castle from Take 3, and Abby Friel and I are doing our thing. So that should be fun. But enough depressing stuff for the moment. Case, think it's time to get into some movie news.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start off tonight with the most Captain Obvious frickin' thing of the week. Oh no! Sony and Marvel got over their shit and they're making a third Spider-Man movie that's gonna drop in 2021. I'm waiting for a piece of news where that wasn't supposed to happen. Because if we all recall correctly, Tom Holland's contract ended on this upcoming movie. So we knew this was going to happen. Why is this such a big freaking deal? Can somebody please explain that to me?
Okay, Chris, this is why. Because a few weeks ago, we had the news story, Tom Holland not in the MCU anymore. Spider-Man is not in the MCU anymore because Sony cut their ties with Disney. The one thing that everyone seems to fail to do at that point is read the actual article.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone thinks, oh, headline, oh no, Sony and Disney have issues, and Spider-Man will not be in the MCU.
Must type clickbait article.
Must say things about this clickbait. Roll the song. Yeah. The one thing that everyone at that point forgets to do is read the actual article and figure out for themselves what the fuck is actually going on. And that's they have an issue. However, yes, there is still a contract. That contract cannot be broken unless you want to have a whole lot of issues, which no one really wants to have. Even Sony doesn't want to have that many issues with Disney because a contract is a pretty serious thing. So of course they were going to finish that contract. So why is this such a surprise to everyone? Because no one reads actual articles. They only read the title. So the moment that you can have a clickbaity title like Spider-Man is back in the MCU, everyone will click on your fucking article.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Yep. Like, look, I don't know what makes me weep for this industry we're in more. The fact that that's what's driving the news circuit, or the fact that either way, Sony is still screwing themselves out of better money down the road by just letting Tom Holland stay in the MCU. But whatever. What are you gonna do? At least nobody at Sony or Marvel is having impeachment problems. Sorry, unlike another certain place happening in the U.S. Hey, Trump, bye. No one's gonna miss you. Sorry, guys. Had to get one in there. Now I'm good. All right. Moving on, though, to the first official news story I wanted to break into. And speaking of Marvel and Kevin Feige, Case, we like what Kevin Feige's been doing with the MCU, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We both happen to like this little franchise that started in 1977 that got bought out by Disney in 2012. It's been back now for a while, and so far the films released have been pretty good. Would you agree with that?
What is this franchise you're speaking of?
Is it something called Space Battles? Or Star Wars? My apologies. Star Wars, yes.
Oh. No, I don't like that. Like, that was seriously your question? Do I like Star Wars? Are you kidding me?
So then here, let me pose you another question. How would you feel if Mr. Feige were to come over to the Lucasfilm side of Disney and give us a film set in the Star Wars universe?
I don't know. I don't know what Feige can do for Star Wars. I don't know how big of a fan he is, how invested he is,
Oh,
and
he's just as big a fan of Star Wars as he is of Marvel.
well, that's good because if there's one thing that he can do is produce goddamn successful movies. Good is a different thing sometimes, but it's mostly good.
Yeah.
The MCU, and well, I do think that could be good. That's all I have to say.
Well, and it's kind of funny that that this is going on because like a lot of the discussion going on right now is it with the announcements that we've had of Benioff and Weiss's trilogy being 2022, 24, and 26. Could Kevin Feige possibly be attached to those films as well as still doing MCU stuff? And here's the better question. Given how much of a fan he is, because he has said in interviews, like he's shown it in interviews, how much he knows about Star Wars, could he successfully run both Star Wars, or at least be partially involved in Star Wars while still doing the MCU?
That's the thing. He'll be partially involved because there's a big team of people who run Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and everything. And those people are most noticeably Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, and Pablo Hidalgo. Like they really make sure that a whole lot of things go well with Star Wars. So Feige, he knows his shit. He knows what he's doing with movies. And if he's a fan of the property, that's only a good thing.
Yeah. And that's I guess that's kind of where I'm at. Like, here's the thing. Tell me more about what he specifically wants to do, and that will get me on board.
Because right now it's just Kevin Feige is involved with the Star Wars movie. That's not much to go on.
Cool.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Show me something.
Show me something. Maybe give us that Darth Bane trilogy, or maybe do a trilogy of movies about the Mandalorian Wars or something like that. And no, do not do Knights of the Old Republic, because you can't do that as a movie. And dear God, I will fight that. I will fight that notion to my dying breath. Christian Harloff. What?
What?
Seriously, okay, yeah. Side tangent here. I swear to God, on Jedi Council and Collider Live every week, like I hear him constantly talk about how he wants Knights of the Old Republic, but he wants it done as a movie. No.
Christian, how much time have you actually spent playing Knights of the Old Republic?
Oh, he knows the game inside and out, but still. I would even tell this to Kevin Smets's face, who, dear friend Kevin Smets, we love him. We can't wait for him to become Inner Geekdom champion. But KOTOR is not a story you can do as a movie. Even as a trilogy of movies, there's too much shit you have to cut out. You have to do it as a show. And even then you have to cut a bunch of shit out.
Yeah.
But enough about my my little side project I got going on in my private life. Not so private anymore. Moving on to the next story we've got here. So, Kees, unfortunately, you missed being on the Frozen 2 trailer reaction that Chris Ingle was awesome enough to do with me earlier this week. So let's talk about it.
Okay, I don't have much to talk about, honestly. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked good. I'm still going to see it. There's absolutely nothing that this trailer changed for me in terms of like what I'm looking forward to.
All right, fair enough. I just had to put that in there for just to see if there was something that you wanted to bring up. But you know what?
No,
fair enough.
Not really. No.
Either way, we're still going to see the hell of it because bow down to the Disney overlords and whatnot.
Because we, for one, welcome our Disney overlord. Our Nazi overlord.
Yes, we do. All right. Okay. Then, move on to the next story here. Just to get away from some of the big blockbuster tentpole stuff for just a moment here. So, when I say the names Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Good Will Hunting.
A great movie.
That they won an Oscar for.
Yeah. I also think of Good Will Hunting, and then I also think of Dogma, which is such a stupidly funny movie. Like I know Kevin Smith's not your thing, but
no.
You know.
Okay, to be fair, I just haven't seen a single Kevin Smith movie besides Die Hard 4, if you call that a Kevin Smith movie.
Fair enough. And actually, I would say, as someone who is very not for religion, I think that would be your perfect intro for Kevin Smith, because he just, he just goes after the Catholic Church mercilessly in that movie, and it's brilliant. But anyway, so it's kind of established that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have had a long history together, and they have great chemistry. They know how to work off each other. But apparently, they are getting back together again for a kind of drama that, honestly, I'm sort of surprised they're doing. They're doing a movie with Ridley Scott where they're joined by recent Emmy winner Jodie Comer from Killing Eve. Now, granted, I have not seen Killing Eve because I'm not caught up on a lot of TV, but from everything I've heard, this show is fantastic, and she's kind of the main reason why, hence why the Emmy win. But so this is essentially the story. Matt Damon plays this soldier in 14th century England who goes off to war, and then he has to leave his widow behind, but his best friend, played by Ben Affleck, is still there. And well, let's just say there's a night where Ben Affleck gets a little too frisky with Damon's wife. So Damon comes home and essentially goes before the King of England to sanction a duel between the two, because he can't officially charge Ben Affleck with sexually assaulting his wife. So how are they going to solve it? With a duel to the death. Call me sick, but that's kind of interesting.
This reminds me a bit of Pearl Harbor. But it's the other way around. but it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck gets together with a girl that then, when they think that Ben Affleck died, Josh Hartnett gets with, but Ben Affleck comes back, and that was a thing. Remember?
I'd rather not.
Look, I just hope it's not like Pearl Harbor, but yeah, from what you described to me, it's a little Pearl Harbor like. I'll see it if reviews are good.
That's kind of where I'm at too, because Ridley Scott's kind of been on my shit list outside of The Martian this decade. So,
no.
I mean, I know you like Prometheus, and I trust me, I do get it.
No. I love Prometheus, and I actually like Covenant. So yeah, he's not that bad, but he has had some bad ones, like the Exodus movie.
Fucking Robin Hood. Ugh.
Oh, Robin Hood. Yeah, I don't remember that movie.
I think really. I
remember seeing it.
I think Russell Crowe and Oscar Isaac both forgot they were in that movie.
Probably.
But yeah, no, that's kind of the crazy thing about Ridley Scott, is that even though a lot of the movies that I've seen of his this decade I haven't really been a fan of, I'm always willing to give him a chance. Because he made Alien, because he made Thelma and Louise, because he's done a lot of good films that I really do like.
Didn't he make All the Money in the World?
He did.
Yeah.
And that was It was good. It wasn't great, but it was, it was good.
Well, The Martian is one of my favorite films of the decade, so there's that.
There is that, and that movie was pretty damn awesome.
I love it.
Hell yeah. And actually, and speaking of pretty damn awesome, let's talk about a movie that we like and a movie that we don't real fast, that are not hot takes whatsoever. Jurassic World. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
I liked it.
I liked it a lot, too. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and I don't regret it.
By the way, Jurassic World seems to be a controversial movie on its own, because there seem to be people who hate it or who don't like it, and there seem to be people who love it and who like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. There is a little bit of a spectrum there.
Yeah, so that's just a movie that you can bring up in any controversial movie discussion, and you can be on either side, and it will be a controversial opinion, it seems.
Kind of, but I think we can all agree that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, on the other hand, oh yikes. Not good. Like, it has some cool moments. The Indoraptor wasn't the worst idea in the world, but
No, it kind of was, actually. Kind of. Because the thing is,
because of where they went with it, I'll give you that.
But the thing is, in Jurassic World, they created an extremely cool concept of combining a T-Rex with a raptor, like the two biggest dinosaur predators that we know from this franchise, combined into one. I was like, yeah, awesome, and just make sure that he doesn't kill the motherfucking T-Rex, because one doesn't simply kill the motherfucking T-Rex. If you've seen the Nostalgia Critic reviews, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And with the Indoraptor, they essentially just made a big raptor. Like, were you out of ideas? Like, Jesus Christ, you make billions of dollars with this franchise, and you give us a bigger raptor. Ooh. That's your fucking idea. Seriously, it's the worst fucking idea ever. Besides maybe the Spinosaurus.
But to be fair, the Spinosaurus was a real dinosaur.
That's the thing. So yeah, okay, the Indoraptor was the worst thing that they could.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree that the best thing about that movie was seeing Dr. Malcolm once again, even if it was in a small role.
For all 10 seconds.
Yeah, but it was still great to see him again. But we just got some confirmation of some great news. That's he's back, along with Dr. Ellie Sattler and Dr. Alan Grant, Laura Dern and Sam Neill coming back to the franchise that put them on the map in the first place. Okay. I'm happy for this as long as they actually play a part in the story. If we just have another fucking brief scene of the three of them like they did in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I'm officially done with the franchise.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Also, where the fuck were they before? Where the fuck have they been? Why did it take so long for them to come back to a movie? Because seriously, they brought back Jeff Goldblum for The Lost World, but that wasn't the Jeff Goldblum from the first movie. Mm-hmm. So, they brought back Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler for Jurassic Park 3, but Ellie Sattler had a glorified cameo in it. And Alan Grant, Alan Grant just needs other people around him from the first movie to really shine. Because in all honesty, Sam Neill is not that great, I think. And I remember seeing Jurassic Park with my girlfriend, and she was like, one of the best parts, and probably the big reason she actually liked the movie a lot more than she thought she would, was Laura Dern, Ellie Sattler. So please give us her in the movie with Alan Grant, and please make him a couple already, because fuck you, Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, to this day, I am still upset about that.
Like, seriously, they have so much chemistry in that first movie, and they leave it open-ended, essentially, but then Jurassic Park 3 is like, no, fuck you. So just please give them something to do. Let's at least include them in roles and not glorified cameos. So like I'm extremely hesitant about this because Fallen Kingdom was
Well, and plus, here's what I want. So, to my understanding, what they're essentially going to do now is have the dinosaurs be involved with modern day society.
that's better.
And it's
That's
better,
interesting.
and we haven't seen that before. But simultaneously, is it just going to be an extension of the San Diego chase from the Lost World? You
Oh
know,
Jesus, Brian Newsbaum. All I want is a raptor dream sequence. Alan.
Alan. But actually, no. I'm looking at the chat also. I see Chris Engel put in. No, he says we need a raptor with lasers on its head. Yes, yes,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
That
Actually, I'm suddenly thinking about a pitch that they did on Movie Fights once. I believe it was Spencer who pitched it, where he essentially took the concept of Jurassic World, where they wanted to militarize raptors and
oh
dinosaurs. Period.
yeah.
If you militarize dinosaurs and yes, include it in a modern world and give them lasers or something, like isn't that what everyone wants to see out of this franchise?
Well, because that's the
Come
only
on.
place that's the only place you have left to go.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Because look, that like with the dinosaurs, you've pretty much done everything in the first three movies, and I thought it was extremely interesting that Jurassic World tackled the concept of the park is actually open, has been open for years, and they're actually getting bored of it, so that they need to do new stuff to make it less boring. Um, but yeah, they did that. So where do you go now? Not Fallen Kingdom because that didn't work. But yeah, give us something cool in modern day society.
yeah, because it's either that idea or you go to space.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious should do already.
I mean, they almost did with Hobbs and Shaw, Black Superman and all that, but
Yeah,
eh.
no, I was not a big fan of Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I did not pay for that one.
So I'm a little regretful that I did.
Well, that still makes you a better man than I. So, because
Yeah,
at least you paid for it.
I did.
But moving on to the next story I wanted to hit here. So, speaking of Emmys and people that I feel definitely earned their wins. Jason Bateman, good actor, solid actor. I like it. I like his comedy stuff. I like his drama stuff. He was the voice of Nick Wilde in Zootopia.
Yeah, no, I know that. I just that's a voice. I can never remember which Jason he is.
Guys in the chat, help him out. Help refresh him.
No, no,
Okay,
I'm the being. So.
okay. I IMDb him. So and he just won his Emmy for best directing in the show Ozark, which he's also the main star of. Which, again, good for him. That's a well-earned win from what I've seen of Ozark. I like the show. I like him. But it looks like he's in talks to direct a remake of the 1985 movie Clue, which the original had Tim Curry, Bernadette Peters, and a who's who of great comedic talent. And also starring in this movie, kind of the hottest, name in Hollywood right now, Ryan Reynolds. Now, Case, have you ever played the game Clue?
No, no, I have absolutely no idea about Clue, either the game or the movie. The only good thing about this is Ryan Reynolds, but I'm probably not going to see this movie.
And oddly
Done.
enough, I think I'm actually in the same boat as you. And here's the reason why. It's not a slight on Jason Bateman or Ryan Reynolds or whomever else that get attached excuse me, to the film. What I'm also worried about is kind of like last week how I said that The Princess Bride is a perfect time capsule. Clue is kind of the same way. I just don't see how you could make it in today's day and age with today's kind of sensibilities. Like, because not to say that the original Clue is dated or anything, because it actually is very funny still. But I don't know how I would work. Straight up, like I don't know, guys. Am I crazy? Like, let me know in the chat, please. As we move on to our next story involving directors. So the actress Bella Thorne, she's kind of been taken off, especially coming up from her status as a Disney girl. But now she's been in actually pretty decent films like The Babysitter, to name a few others. But she recently made her directorial debut directing porn. And she won a porn award for it. She won a Woody. And yes, Case, that is what the adult industry calls their Oscars, Woodies.
I got it.
So, and I literally just put this in here just because I'm baffled. I'm baffled that a small piece of news like this is everywhere. I found it on Collider. I found it on The Hollywood Reporter. I found it on Deadline. I found it on Variety. Like, why is this such a big deal? Just because she's a young actress who still has the rest of her career ahead of her, but she made her directorial debut in porn? Like, guys, are we being prudes about it? Are we just, morbidly curious? Like,
I don't get it. Maybe all the places that you mentioned has one perf. Like, oh, yeah, I'm fine about her. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
what the fuck was that?
It's some kind of perf that it's like, oh, young blonde girl, she's hot, she directed porn. I don't know. I have no idea what else. I have no explanation. I have no idea about it. I didn't even know this person existed until just now.
Well, and to be fair, Cool Guy does bring up a valid point that I can't name any serious celebrities who have directed porn, unless you count something like Brown Bunny, where Chloe Sevigny gives her boyfriend a blowjob on camera, but that's not porn. That's just a rated X film or a rated NC-17 film. So, and of course, I suppose, leave it to a bunch of weird, probably old men who have to be like, oh, that girl, she's only 21, she's making porn. Oh, yes. Oh.
See, that's all I can come up with for this one.
Also, to all the audio listeners, have fun with those noises. Oh, Jesus.
Make that a soundbite or something.
If anybody clips that and puts it in the D2A Facebook group, I will happily post that all over.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ooh, all right. Let's get into our final news story for the night. And this one's actually pretty exciting. Matt Reeves is Batman. I'd say we're excited for it.
No. Not whatsoever.
Even with the inclusion of Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, or...
All I've seen Jeffrey Wright do is being bland in movies. I mean, I know the actor. I know he's Felix Leiter in Casino Royale. He's not special, nothing great in that movie. And yeah, I'm not a fan of Jonah Hill. Not a big
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I kind of forget these things from time to
fan.
time.
No, the thing is, like, I think Jonah Hill is fine. It's just he is in so much that I'm like I'm overexposed to him by this point. So uh, Jonah Hill is fine. Jeffrey Wright is and Matt Reeves is a decent director, and it's still the current Warner Brothers with Batman. So honestly, I cannot be less excited about a Batman movie coming up. Also because um, Nico brought this up when I said that I'm extremely overexposed to Obi-Wan. Another Batman. How many Batmans have we had? How many are we gonna get? Like fucking hell.
And no, actually, I actually 100% get that. Like, but if like let's say there was some sort of guarantee that Pattinson was going to be the last one we'd have for the next decade. If there was some sort of guarantee, like, and obviously we can't guarantee that because there'll probably be another Lego Batman movie because the Lego movies
Oh,
have been pretty financially
Lego,
successful.
Lego Batman, I'm definitely down for because I love the Lego Batman movie and I love Batman in the Lego movies. Plus, Will
It,
Arnett.
uh,
Will
I was
does
gonna
it
say,
pretty well.
even sparkly Batman as he descends down to his musical number with with oh fuck.
I still love I don't know who made it, but there was a meme about sparkly Batman, and we're like, oh, so this is Robert Pattinson, right?
Y'all are fucking lucky I didn't spit that water. Because it would have gone all over my stuff.
No, but, like Robert Pattinson has to be the sparkly Batman, right? Come on, it's like too perfect of a
I'll
joke to
say that
pass.
if if Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson have a sense of humor about it, there will definitely be
Yeah,
a shot. There'll be a shot where we see sparkly Batman somewhere. Come on, there has to be. Please for us. All right, but yeah, no, like just to give my quick 2 cents about Jonah Hill. I didn't like him at first. Seriously, straight up, I did not like him at first as an actor. I didn't like him in anything, whether it was uh, his babysitter movie he did back in like 2009. I didn't like him in Get Him to the Greek. I didn't like him in Superbad. But strangely enough, ever since Moneyball, I've started to come around on him. Like, and then of course 21 Jump Street, 22
I,
Jump Street.
yeah, I haven't seen Moneyball yet. I did like him in the Jump Street franchise. That's like one thing.
Well, yeah, and I'll make the argument that was more the writing versus his actual performance. But there is just something about him that has been working for me lately. And if he were to finally truly come into comic book films and live action, because yeah, he already did Green Lantern in the Lego movies, and he was pretty funny. Let's be honest with ourselves
Yeah,
here.
yeah, especially because Channing Tatum is Superman and he keeps bugging Superman.
Yeah, you know, but it's one of these things where seeing him as the Riddler, though, especially after the like it or not iconic rendition done by Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, you do just have to ask yourself: is he gonna try to do that again, or is he gonna actually take the character of Edward Nygma seriously?
Look, what Carey did with the Riddler back in Batman Forever only works for that movie because that they purposely casted Jim Carrey in that role, knowing Jim Carrey would do his Jim Carrey shtick, which was very popular back in the '90s, and that worked for the character back then. You can probably not do that in the Batman today because the Batman will probably be way too serious, which is a little unfortunate because that does mean probably no sparkly Batman. Um, but one can dream.
I will hold out hope, Case.
Yeah, we will hold out hope, but he'll definitely change it up from Carrie's performance.
Yeah, I suppose. Fair enough. Yeah, that's about all I got. So, guys, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And as soon as we get back, grab your grab your pitchforks, grab your torches, and bring us your best hot takes because we're going to go on a little trip. Little field trip, everyone. And we're going to go piss everybody off about every movie that you've ever loved. Let's have some fun. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Yoga?
Yeah, so like I'm gonna be matching muscles to the specific area of the body in which they reside. So it's related to yoga, and also I think there's something about like myths of dieting, something like that as well. I mean, it's not like
Hashtag yoga Rigoli. Let's make this happen, folks. This is like I'm not making fun of you because oh yoga's such a women like no it's just
no. First off, let me stop you right there. See, so don't be dissing yoga.
I'm not dissing. Let's just make that perfectly clear. Yoga is a very legitimate, almost it's an art form unto itself. It's very therapeutic. It calms the mind. I just think it's funny that you're in a class. But you know what? If you're doing it,
I need the decompression. I need the decompression, especially with what we do. We sit in front of a computer screen and just talk, and occasionally lift up a whiteboard and write on it with a marker. Like you do that enough times, and your body is going to atrophy. So, like getting that, you understand the benefits of physical activity. You've been preparing for a role for a show you're writing.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I've been struggling to get back to the dojo and get back to my black belt self, and that's partly because I've been afraid of I lost a lot of muscle in the time that I've been sitting on this couch talking in front of all of our fans on this computer.
So it's all of their fault. I see how.
No, don't. You know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
Deftones to me has always been one of those bands who's had an album for every step of my life, and I love that they are just this old band, perfectly set from my time span of being alive. In that, whenever I was listening to White Pony for the first time, all of that had very everything is teenage angsty titles in their own song. It's literally made for me at my teenage years and even my younger years as I was listening to it. So then 2003 hits. That's when Deftones, the self-titled album, drops. That is me at 13. That is me with 3 Days Grace's first album, emo, cringy, hardcore teenager. And Deftones self-titled hits that perfectly with that tone. I was so angry, and it had so much raw scream. Hexagram is just 4 minutes of screaming straight. Just raw, visceral screaming and stuff like that. And a lot of the rest of it just had some nice, sad, melancholy notes that I think just lands perfectly for that teenage angst feeling I was at. So self-titled, for a very long explanation, is my number 3.
But yeah, that was a little embarrassing.
Josh McCouga is embarrassed for you, I'm pretty sure. But seriously, getting a spun, opponent's choice, it's always kind of the sword in you at the end of the day.
Really, Jessica? Thank you, Jessica. I greatly appreciate you calling him Makuga. Thanks,
Damn,
Jess.
Julia.
That was me and Mark.
Jesus.
If they'd asked me Oscar questions about the 1930s, I would have been okay. But they didn't do that.
No, because all
They
the
went
Oscars
with
questions have to come out in the
Chicago.
last 20 years, because that's the only movies the game fucking cares about.
I can tell you're a little butthurt about that still, but
Yeah.
obviously it also
Buttered, battered, and bitter.
This is an unsafe working environment right now.
cool. Obviously, I can see you're a little upset too because
And your winner, Scott the Savage Harvey. Tony Smashman Hill. Edub Woodburn. Hazard. Jimmy Derry. Bill Philadelphia Carriola. Taylor Zachary. Hassan Tahini. Nazario Montenegro. King Slayer.
And welcome back to the second half of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. Now, guys, I promise you, next week we'll have a new break. You know, these things take time to edit, so sorry. Actually, who am I kidding? No excuses, no excuses. Just like no excuses for why we think the way we do about certain things, especially when it comes to movies that, you know, movies that make us feel so passionate one way or another, whether we love them or not. Because the thing is, we all have our taste. And we don't always have to justify why we have certain taste, but sometimes it helps to just verbalize why certain movies make us feel the way they do. And I think that's definitely what we're going to get into tonight. As we said last week, we've setting up all week. We asked you guys to give us some of yours, and we will happily read some of your hot takes in just a bit, but just to sort of set the mood, I want us to start this discussion by getting the ones we really just don't like out of the way first. Or maybe ones that, sure, aren't bad, but we don't get the love for them. And, you know, the thumbnail didn't lie. As Kees, I would love for you to start this off.
Yeah, so I included in the thumbnail the what I call highly overrated Toy Story 3. I'm a big Pixar fan. I'm a big fan of Toy Story 2, and I like Toy Story 1. I will never in my life understand the love for Toy Story 3. There is nothing that movie does that has any effect on me, and I will just never get it. It's frustrating. I see so many people saying it's a perfect movie, and I'm like, why? It tackles the exact same problem as Toy Story 2. It has the exact same formula as Toy Stories 1 and 2, and a lot of Pixar movies, actually. And this is something that Irina also pointed out to me. Almost all the Pixar movies have the same formula about one of the main characters getting lost in a place, or they need, in the end, they need to go to a place and come back, and that's kind of it. And like Toy Story follows a similar formula where in Toy Story 2, Woody gets taken away and they need to get him back, and in Toy Story 3, the entire group gets taken away and they need to get back. It's the same thing. Toy Story 2 already tackles the problem of like when you're a kid, how do you deal with getting rid of your old toys? And Toy Story 2 was perfect in that regard because Toy Story 2, like Andy is a child who is getting he's growing up to be a teenager. In Toy Story 3, he is off to college. He is like 18 or 19 years old. At 18 or 19 years old, I don't know how everyone else in the world, because apparently everyone else in the world had a really hard time at 18 years old with throwing away their old toys. I was years beyond that when I was 18. Seriously, I don't get it. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so sad that he needs to say goodbye to his toys. Yeah, everyone does that. And Toy Story 2 already tackled that problem. What if you have to one day get rid of your toys? It's the same thing, and everyone says that they cry when they're holding hands in the furnace. But it's like, yeah, do you really think they're going to kill off all their popular main characters? No. So of course they're going to survive, and then of course it's going to be an ex machina. And then they say, oh, but I cried so much at the very end when Andy had to give his toys away when he was 18 years old off to college. He had such a hard time with that. Seriously, are you fucking kidding me? It never clicked with me, and I've seen the movie several times now, and especially last time that I saw it, which was like last year, I was like, okay, let's see it again. Let's see if I like this movie again. No, I don't get it. I will never get it, and I will always say Toy Story 3 is extremely overrated. There is no way you can call that one of your favorite Pixar movies because it is not, in my opinion, in my incorrect opinion.
You know, and I will just sort of rebut my thing, because you and I have talked about this in private, but I don't think I've mentioned this on air anywhere, so I'll make this brief. But at least for me, why it affected me so much, because yes, I am one of those people where, yeah, every time I watch the ending of that movie, I cry like a little bitch. But I think it's just more so the circumstance of where I was the first time I saw it, because I didn't see it in theaters. I missed it. The first time I saw it was actually, funny enough, about a month or so before I myself went to college, and my junior senior year of high school.
Oh, and did you just say goodbye to your favorite toys?
I never got to.
Ah.
You know, because as I was about to say, my grandmother passed away in my junior year of high school, and I had to go live with my grandpa and basically be his caretaker while I was still in high school, and working a part-time job and being in a band. So I kind of had to grow up a lot faster than I would have liked, and I never got to get rid of my old toys myself. I just remember coming home from college one time coming home from work. Where was? Oh yeah, I had just gotten back from a tour. Actually, I was on tour for about a week, and next thing I saw was, I went down the basement to get some pop or something, and I saw all my old stuff gone. It had all been removed without me having a chance to sort of get rid of it myself. So I was like, that sucks. And then I saw that, and then I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, that hurts. So,
okay, I can understand that. What I was happy with though is that I'd seen Toy Story 3, and then I was like, am I seriously the only asshole in the entire world who doesn't like this movie? And then I saw the Nostalgia Critic's review of it, and I'm like, thank God there is someone else who agrees with me. And he mentioned the exact same points that I had an issue with, and I was like, okay, at least there's that.
Yeah. And to be fair, you're actually right, because it does tackle a lot of the same stuff from Toy Story 2, but it tackles it in a new way, because like how the first film sort of, because the first one sort of pays homage to a lot of spaghetti westerns by way of Woody's Roundup and whatnot. The third one, it's so obviously The Great Escape. It's so obviously 1963 is the Great Escape. It's not even funny. Like, and I recognized that as I was watching the movie for the first time, and I was a little bit bothered by that, but at the same time I appreciate it, because I'm like, oh, maybe adults can tell kids, hey, you want to see where Toy Story 3 got these ideas from? Go watch The Great Escape. But that's kind of that. But yeah, I hear you and I understand you. It's just that you and I had two completely different circumstances when we saw this film for the first time. Because like I said, I never got that final goodbye. Especially when I found out my dad threw away my lightsabers. Oh, motherfucker, I was pissed. I was legitimately pissed about that.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So
that's just an asshole move.
that is kind of an asshole move, Dad. I appreciate everything else you've done for me, but really, you had to get rid of my X-wing. You had to get rid of a lot of my Legos. You had to get rid of my lightsabers without telling me. Oh, thanks. It's not like I couldn't. It's not like I didn't want to have those lightsabers for later or anything. No.
Yeah, that's
because I had a red one that was Qui-Gon's hilt, and then I had a blue one that was Obi-Wan's hilt, and I'm like, yes.
Wait, were those expensive?
No, I mean, no. Don't get me wrong. They were children's toys. But,
oh, okay.
But still, I'd had them for almost 10 years at that point. I wasn't planning on getting rid of them.
However, you should consider buying the big expensive one.
Don't get me wrong. As soon as I have a little extra cash, yeah, I'm going to start a collection. Starting, of course, with Revan's lightsaber, because I kind of love his design the most. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true. My favorite is still the Graflex, Anakin slash Luke's slash Rey's. But, yeah, those would be my first two sabers. But, yeah, no, I do get that. I do get that. Now, luckily for me, I know you don't have a defense for my first movie that I'm going to bring up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is,
I've never seen it. That's why.
fair. And the other thing is, like, people our age, we're starting to understand where the problems in this movie lie. But people a little bit older than us, I'd say the Collider people on up, they worship at the feet of this fucking movie. And I don't know why. And I'm going to say the name of this movie is the one and only delightfully stupid and moronic and horrendous Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from 1991. Now, I'm only going to talk about the movie just a little bit because I'm going to sort of explore my hot take a little bit more about the main actor. But here, let me just get this across right now. I've already written a better version of this movie. I've written a better version of it in my head because let me give you 3 problems right away. Problem number 1. So Christian Slater plays Will Scarlet, Robin Hood's brother, and he has trouble with Michael Wincott, who is playing the Sheriff of Nottingham's cousin. And the story sets it up so that way, like, these two could have a really awesome duel at the end of the film, while Robin and the Sheriff have their awesome duel at the end of the film, and that could be a fun little parallel storytelling. No, we're just going to throw that aside, and we're going to kill off Michael Wincott 40 minutes into the movie. Fuck you. Fuck you, movie. Because if you're going to spend so much time on one supporting character and his opposite, then make them fight at the end of the movie. Do that. But no, instead you had to be stupid. 2, Kevin Costner. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna say that. Save him for the end. 2, Alan Rickman is way too good to be in this fucking movie. Like, this is Alan Rickman just off of Die Hard, so he is now the hottest ticket in Hollywood. Everybody wants to work with him. Everybody wants him in their movie. The problem is, he's actually acting compared to everyone else in the movie. Because Christian Slater, he's not acting. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, she's not acting. The guy who plays Friar Tuck, he's not acting. Sean Connery in his short-ass appearance, he's not acting. Nobody's acting in this movie, except for Alan Rickman. He's actually trying. Hell, Morgan fucking Freeman isn't trying in this goddamn movie. But Alan Rickman is. Do you see the problem here, Case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look! You already convinced me a very long time ago that I should never watch this movie, and I'm not gonna.
Awesome. But I do have to, get my point across to the rest of the audience here at home, because I'm seeing a little bit of defense for it, Brian. I will address your defense in a moment. 3rd is the goddamn climax of this movie. Okay. Having several friends who have been, how do I put this nicely? Who have received the bad touch. This movie drives me up the goddamn wall because Robin has to save Maid Marian from being raped by the sheriff before he and the sheriff can engage in their final duel. That is such a horrific plot point. Fuck you, movie. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I don't want that in my action movie. The only time that I think, a movie should have the stomach to, tackle something involving rape is if you're doing it to actually make a point, if you're doing a drama kind of thing. Don't do it as your high-octane thrill. Oh, will Robin get to Maid Mary in time before the sheriff has his way with her? Yikes. All aboard the Yikes Express on that one. Fuck you, movie. Fuck you. And lastly, Brian Nussbaum. Everything I Do It For You is one of the worst fucking pop songs of all time.
Yes, it is. Because
Thank you.
Bryan Adams is a terrible artist, and I do not get the appeal. And every time that the joke is made in South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, now the Canadian government has apologized for Bryan Adams on several occasions. I'm like, that's not good enough.
No, you haven't apologized enough for it. Because, first off, if you're going to make a song for a movie, the themes of the song have to tie into the movie. The themes of Everything I Do It For You have nothing to do with married men, have nothing to do with fighting for what you believe in. They have nothing to do with stealing from the rich to give to the poor. They don't even have anything to do with Robin and Marion as a couple.
They have nothing to do with anything.
Thank you. It's just a bad, poorly written song. It's poorly mixed, it's poorly executed, and I'm not even sorry. But Bryan Adams, his voice doesn't fit that song. Which is why Family Guy did such a brilliant job parodying it when Stewie did that song for Susie shortly after she was born. Yeah. Now see, when they did it there, that was brilliant. That was great because Family Guy understood how bad that song was.
Yes.
But none of you fuckers seem to get that. So I'm sorry. That is my first hot take. And I will stand by it 100%. Come at me. Come at me, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves defenders. Because we're about to piss off every art house lover with our first collective hot take. Oh. Case, you ready? Let's rewind the clock 2 years. I'm seeing 2017, I'll argue, was a great year for cinema. There was a lot of great blockbusters that came out. There was a lot of great, independent stuff that came out, and a lot of award nominated work was being put out all across the board. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember seeing a movie sometime in July. I saw this movie by myself in the theater. It was great. And here's the thing. Even if there's one other person in the theater, I will stay silent. But if I'm in the theater completely by myself, I will speak my thoughts as I'm watching the movie. And if I had recorded myself when I saw The Florida Project, I would have lost all cred as an amateur critic right then and there. I fucking hate this movie. Case, I know you did too. Let's talk about it.
I couldn't even finish this fucking thing.
Oh, I did. I made myself finish it.
Look, you were in the theater and you probably already paid for your ticket. No, I didn't pay for this. Fuck that. I'm not gonna pay for this shit. God. This is just like I was literally thinking, I can just go to Florida and see this. Why do I need to see a fucking movie about this crap? It's just some lame mother who's not able to take care of her kids in Florida, working in a goddamn complex, and Willem Dafoe is pretty good in it. I don't get that's the thing. His Oscar nom, that was deserved. That's about the only thing this movie has going for it. The movie was so fucking lame and pointless to me that I was like, seriously, you're gonna make this into a fucking movie? I was so annoyed by, I wasn't necessarily bored because the things that happened had something going for it, but not in a good way. It was just so fucking annoying, and every single time that something shitty happened, because that's the thing, shitty things keep happening. The mother keeps being a piece of shit who should not have children, and Willem Dafoe is trying to help them, and yeah, and that's what you want to see for 2 fucking hours, right? It was colorful.
I mean, never mind the fact that there's no score to this movie at all.
No.
Which granted, that can work. That can work fine in the right context. But in a movie like this, you needed something to break up the silence because it dragged on too long. It dragged on way too long, and I'm sorry, but actually, who am I kidding? I'm not fucking sorry.
No.
But the movie honestly should have focused on Willem Dafoe. He was the most interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here, Case, let me pitch this to you. Let's say we get a hour 40 long movie about Willem Dafoe. He's the manager at this hotel. It's right outside of Disney World, and it's basically just him and all the shit that he has to go through as being a manager at a pretty shitty location. So occasionally, maybe he has to stop a creep from hitting on some kids. Cool.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe he sees that this mother is being a rather horrible parent to her child, and she's basically using his place to just live there. You know, but she pays to stay there, so he lets her off the hook.
Yeah.
Until he sees that her daughter is getting into some shit. You know, then he's gotta step up. Like, if the movie had just bothered to give us a likable character outside of Willem Dafoe, I would have loved this movie.
Well, that's the thing. Willem Dafoe is the best thing because he is the only likable character, but he is hardly in the movie. Like that's the thing. He was, I believe, it was supporting actor that he was nominated for, not lead actor.
Yep.
Make him the lead character, like that we can sympathize with a guy who is just trying to make a living owning this apartment complex, and there's shit going on. That would probably be more interesting, yeah. But I hated the mom. I hated the kids. And there's no real reason to like him at all in this movie. The movie doesn't give you a point. And like the reason that people like it is because they think it is like a realistic depiction of Florida. As I said, I can just go to Florida and see this shit go on.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that shit in a fucking movie, and I definitely don't need to see it if it's told from the characters who are shitty.
You know, honestly, we can just go to Florida and see this every day. Hell, I can just go to Minneapolis and see this every day. You can go to Amsterdam and see this every day. Like, I get it. This is a slice of life. I get it. I like slice of life movies, but if you're gonna do it.
No. You said this before. You're not a big fan of slice of life films because a lot of the times you're like, I can literally just see this in life. But a few movies do it right.
Yes.
Florida Project was just not doing it.
No. It definitely didn't. Actually, you know what? Okay, Brian Fernandez, that is not a hot take whatsoever because we both love the Neon Demon.
Yeah. That's not really a hot take.
That's not a hot take at all, man.
Here's the thing. Brian Fernandez has brought up a couple of things, and a few I have written down that are actually hot takes, but yeah, this is not one of them.
Yeah, that's not one of them because outside of Only God Forgives, I don't think I've seen a Nicholas Winding Refn film I don't like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And actually, you know what, cool guy, thank you for validating me on that pitch I gave you guys. So, because you know what, that would be a better movie than the fucking Florida Project. Come at me. You know, I'm sure if our dear friends over at Critically Acclaimed listen to this episode and they hear me go on about this movie, I'm sure Whitney will have a few words to say to me because that was like his 4th favorite film of that year or something like that. It's like,
I mean, Whitney has been wrong before.
He has.
Look, Whitney, I love you, but you have a lot of wrong opinions, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Oh, wait, sorry. Was that a clumsy setup for an upcoming episode? Anyway. But no, so we mentioned fan hot takes. Well, Case, you put out a post this week in the Facebook group, and you actually put together some of the hot takes that we got. Would you mind reading a couple of them out, and we'll talk about them?
I asked for everyone to give me movies that they like more than everyone else, or they dislike more than everyone else. And well, there are a couple of ones in here. First of all, I'll start off with Chris Ingle. He was one of the first to comment. Yeah, he absolutely hates The Little Mermaid. I was on call to talk to Ingle about why he hates The Little Mermaid. His rant on Ariel was something else. We need to get that on camera. We need to get that recorded.
We will.
That was beautiful, honestly. That rant. Look, I like The Little Mermaid a lot, but I would agree with him that Ariel is probably the weaker part of that movie because, yeah, she is a whiny teen who fucks up and still gets away at the end. Yeah, you know. It's not a great message for kids, but I love the songs. I think Ursula is a good villain. I think Eric is a good prince. So you know there are a lot of commendable things.
And there are the thing is for 1989, and especially with all the Disney films that came before it.
Yes,
it was the movie that Disney needed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just actually okay. Here, I'll use I'll coin my term, the Led Zeppelin effect, where Little Mermaid was what Disney needed at the time. It's just that ever since, they've done it better.
Yeah.
Every single time afterwards.
No, I very much enjoy watching and rewatching The Little Mermaid, but it's not one of my absolute favorites. I mean, I really like it, but
and I do like parts of it, but even I have to admit I'm kind of over Ariel as a character.
No, that makes sense.
So.
And on the other hand, he loves Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
He's explained this to me, and I still don't get it.
I will probably never get that. Like,
nope.
What do you like about this movie?
I mean, okay. For anyone who says that like Tim Roth is an enjoyable villain, sure. Enjoyable doesn't mean good. And while I will always give the Planet of the Apes remake so much credit in the makeup department because, dear God,
it's Tim Burton.
It's Tim Burton. Of course it's going to look great. And of course the apes look great. But the plot sucks. The twist sucks. Mark Wahlberg really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, oh.
But
there's that.
There's that. What's next?
Well, Brian Nussbaum. I'll quote his comment that he made because
twice.
He says, yeah, he made the comment twice. That's true. Yeah, Rogue One is one of the worst Star Wars films. It's so boring. The characters are forgettable. Only good part is the ending. I can definitely see the argument, despite the fact that I absolutely love the movie. But I have some personal bias towards that movie. But yeah, Jyn Erso is one of the worst protagonists that I've ever seen in film. Everything just happens to her. Felicity Jones is a talented actress, and there are moments that she acts well, but the writing do her no favors. I'll definitely say that. I think Cassian Andor is kind of bland. Bodhi Rook, Baze Malbus. The thing, I know these character names, but yeah, Bodhi Rook, Baze Malbus,
Chirrut
Imwe. Wow, why did I blank? They're all, yeah, fine. Chirrut Imwe is kind of cool, but that's about it. Best character is the droid, K2SO. But yeah, like out of the characters, they're pretty bland and forgettable. I'll definitely agree with that. Because there is not a lot of character setup.
No. And that's why, like, I half agree with him. I don't hate the first 2/3 of the movie. I mean, I think it's fine. But Granted, I'm also that guy who says as soon as they get to Scarif, it turns into one of the best Star Wars movies ever made.
It's awesome.
It's
and
great.
And that's just everything I live for to see in a Star Wars movie.
I mean,
so that I love.
Which is why I hate to say it, but like, if let's say somehow there was a Jedi battle going on while we had the land battle and the space battle, then it would be better than Endor for me.
Maybe
It's not,
No.
but
Well,
it's still great.
and I also think that Catalyst is a big help for the two of us.
Yes.
Because if you've read Catalyst, that does make the movie better, or at least some of the characters. Because Galen Erso did fuck all in the movie, but in the book he was my favorite character. And Lyra was also extremely interesting, and she gets killed off in the first scene. So
and Krennic is he's just wonderful.
Krennic is amazing in this movie. Not for necessarily the right reasons, but
Nope.
he is amazing in this movie.
I mean, Case.
Are we Garrison? Deploy the blind!
Yes. Oh, and of course, how could we forget? We stand here amidst my achievement, not yours. It's so beautiful. It's so bad, but it's so beautiful.
Could you say, "Oh, beautiful"?
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, if y'all leave after that, I don't blame you.
No, but I can definitely see the argument as to why Rogue One is not a good movie. There are definitely a whole lot of flaws, but I never really had those flaws.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I wanted to enjoy, and as we said, we loved the ending. And the ending is pretty much the reason I went to see the movie 20 fucking times in the theater.
I don't blame you. If I would have had more time, I would have seen it more than twice in theaters. But those 2 times I saw it in theaters, whoo, and shit. Like, Rogue One is to you what Revenge of the Sith is to me.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the movies by themselves might not be the best, but we have a personal experience with it that enhances it a lot.
And here's actually the funny thing. If, let's say, you were to watch Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and New Hope back to back,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great trilogy.
No, that's a fun time, and you essentially, like in my opinion, you get the better movie as you go on, like Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and A New Hope.
Yeah, from a certain point of view.
My point of view.
Yes.
Oh.
All right. What's next?
Yeah. In category of hot takes, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is one of the best MCU films. Better than the first Guardians. The music is better. I love the villain, and the humor is great. Brian, you could not be more fucking wrong about this. Like, what in the actual fuck, dude? Like, I frankly don't care about the actual music that they use, because frankly, I didn't hear a single song that they I didn't really know a single song from the first Guardians up until I saw Guardian, and the same goes for Volume 2. The use of the music is a million times better in the first Guardians. You cannot ever convince me of the fact that it's used better in the second, because the music is in the second is extremely forgettable. They didn't use the music well. The villain twist of ego at the end is way too late and very anticlimactic for me. And the humor is so great that their own characters laugh about it, but not me. Fuck this movie.
And yet, in terms of enjoyment, oddly enough, I go to this one more than the original.
You suck. I'm disgusted by all of you. You guys suck. Everyone, like, seriously, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one is awesome. It's extremely entertaining, and it's so much better than the fucking second one. Are you kidding me?
But you know my issues with Star-Lord. Sorry.
Oh yeah, because a movie that came out way later did something.
Oh no. I haven't liked Star-Lord since the first Guardians.
Oh,
But
okay.
but and that's
Well,
what's kind of been my thing. Like there's just a little less of him in the second one. So that's why I'm like
I will give a little bit of credit in terms of what the second did in character development for
for Rocket and Yondu and them. Oh.
no, Nebula and Gamora.
Oh, yes.
Because Nebula, Nebula was just a character in the first one, and Gamora, I believe everyone after the first Guardians said that after the first Guardians, they were like, oh, I love Star-Lord, or I love Rocket, or I love Groot, or I love Drax. No one said that they loved Gamora. Gamora was pretty much the least favorite Guardian. And she got so much better with that second movie and definitely Infinity War after. And Nebula also, like, Nebula got a huge character arc, which comes back so hard in Endgame that it's like, that is at least good stuff in Volume 2. And I won't say that Volume 2 has is just terrible throughout, but there's no way you can say it's better than the first. And
well, and to be fair, in terms of story structure, you're actually right. Guardians 1 is done better. But it's just a matter of, and for me, literally, that's the difference between these two movies. It's enjoyment in the characters. I don't enjoy the characters as much as the first one. In the second one, I can actually enjoy, especially with Rocket, Groot, and Yondu, like those three and everything they go through. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah, I frankly didn't care for that.
And that's fair. Like, I've come to realize I'm kind of in a minority on that. But like, especially
to be fair, anyone who says that they prefer the second Guardians is in the minority.
It's true.
So definitely a hot take.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah. What's next? Let's do like two more.
All right. Brian Fernandez, who is in the chat, just said that he loves all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, even the shitty sequels. I have only begun to watch those movies. The original Nightmare on Elm Street is great. The Dream Warriors is good. The rest is terrible. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is terrible. The Dream
Master.
The Dream Master is even worse. And actually, we have
just wait till the Dream Child, bro.
Okay, because that's the thing. Tomorrow, Rena and I have planned to drunk watch The Dream Child and Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. And based on the IMDb scores, because the IMDb scores have been going down. Like, you have the Dream Warriors, which is a 6.6 on IMDb, and that makes sense because I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I actually like that movie. Then we go to the next one, which is a 5.7. Then it is a 5.1, and the last one is a 4.9. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's going to be so bad. I'm going to get so fucking drunk tomorrow, but that's going to be fun.
Now,
but what we did realize is that 2 and 4 would probably be a whole lot more entertaining if we had drunk. And that's why we watched those movies throughout the week last week. And after the fourth one, I said, love, should we wait until the weekend to watch the rest? Because, then we can drink. And she was like, yeah, we should do that.
And then hopefully you'll go back to 2 and 4 and you'll drunk watch them. And hopefully you'll enjoy them a little bit better because, like, okay, I genuinely can't make that many defenses for 4, 5, and 6. Because they're like, okay, yeah, from really any form of cinematic perspective, they're not that good. Now, granted, I just have a super affinity for slasher films. That's probably my favorite subgenre of horror. So, of course, they get a free pass from me no matter what. Even when Freddy will get into real cringe territory as far as some of his jokes. And trust me, Case, it's about to get bad.
No shit.
Oh yes.
Look, I already gave Nightmare on Elm Street 4 1 out of 5 stars, so that's fun.
I can't be that mean to it because I do love the kills. I genuinely love the kills in part 4.
I didn't. I honestly didn't.
All right. Fair
I
enough.
also I was also like, who is this blonde girl? And seriously, Irina needed to tell me that was Patricia Arquette's character from the last movie who was just recasted. It's like, why the fuck did they recast? Probably because Patricia Arquette got a little bit smarter about making decisions because, she got to an Emmy and Golden Globe and Oscar at one point. So she was like, she saw the script and was like, fuck no.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, no. Well,
I'll Nightmare, by the way, Chris
I was
Engel.
going to say,
but
he'll
watching it
get
in
there.
order.
He'll
We're
get
watching
there.
it in order.
Exactly.
I've seen the first 4.
Exactly.
So 5 and 6 will come up. We'll drunk watch that. But I've heard New Nightmare is actually good, so I won't drunk watch that. I'll just watch it and hopefully enjoy it.
With how much I've been possibly overhyping it for you, I just hope that I haven't been. All right. What's next?
Well, I think we can both agree with at least one of these. I haven't seen the other one. Kenneth Lee doesn't love Ghostbusters and Caddyshack. I can very much agree on Ghostbusters. I have never seen Caddyshack.
We know why my arms are folded.
Because Caddyshack.
Yep. Even though, look, I actually do understand the sort of backlash that's been building up against it and why, when you really stop to think about it, it's actually a very messy film. It's quite incoherent. I just respectfully disagree because I think it's one of the great comedies. Period. Because the jokes are still so funny. But I get it. I get it. I
I'll
get
be the
it.
judge of that myself one day when I eventually see it.
Yeah.
But
Plus,
Ghostbusters, we can both agree on.
Yeah, but Ghostbusters, honestly, that movie can fuck right off. It's honestly, I honestly just think of it as Reaganistic conservative propaganda. Sorry, but literally, everything the Ghostbusters do is illegal, and Walter Peck is 100% in the right to shut them down. They're not heroes. Yeah. They're essentially what would happen if, God damn it, I'm really about to say this right now. They're what would happen if the same jackasses who, essentially, they are what would happen if Trump supporters gave themselves more power.
Yeah.
So, fight me.
Oh God. Yeah, I've seen Ghostbusters twice, simply because of the fact that everyone was telling me how it's one of the greatest, and I was after the first time I watched it, which was like 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, oh, I've seen Ghostbusters, and I honestly didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was that great. I didn't remember anything of it, and then you keep seeing. I kept seeing everyone who was saying Ghostbusters is one of the greatest movies of all time, and then the remake came out in 2016. So I was like, okay, let's fucking see this thing again. I saw it again. I thought it was fun, I guess. I don't get the appeal. I honestly don't. It is a dated movie. It is very much of the 80s. A movie that nowadays, I think pretty much everyone who sees it will be like, oh yeah, this is definitely an 80s movie. It is not timeless. It is not a classic or anything of what anyone says about that movie. It is at the most a fun fantasy comedy. At the most. There's nothing special about this fucking movie. The lead characters, the lead actors are funny. That's all I'll say about that. But honestly, people who say this is one of the greatest of all time, it's timeless and all that kind of crap, fuck you, you're wrong. This movie is just not that good. And I don't get it.
And Ghostbusters to me is kind of like the soul. Funny enough, Ghostbusters to me is the perfect example of why the 80s is the most overrated decade in all of cinema.
Yeah.
Because the filmmakers went out of their way to put so much of their personal ideals and beliefs into the characters that we're supposed to just go along with them no matter how shitty of people they actually are. That's a problem. That is a big fucking problem in my book. So, which is why, you know what, before we get back to our hot takes, guys, I talked to a bunch of you throughout the week in the Discord chats, in like the fan leagues and whatnot, and I asked you guys a big question. Now, as a lot of you know, I jumped in on the whole Brian Michaels pick a movie for me to watch thing. And you all gave me the 1985 classic Back to the Future. I don't even know how to get in my feelings about this movie without taking at least another half hour of the show, but because I don't want to do that, I asked a bunch of you guys, if I were to make a, let's say, 15, 20-minute video essay so I could properly lay out all of my feelings and my reasoning for my feelings, would you guys keep an open mind and watch it? And thank God all of you said yes. So, in about, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, I will finish my video essay on why I think Back to the Future sucks.
Sucks even, Jesus Christ. Look, I think it's a fun movie. I just think it's extremely overrated because everyone keeps saying like it's one of the most perfect movies ever, and I'm like, it's fun, but it's not that great. Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where it is in the IMDb top 250, but it's in like the top 100.
It's in
like
it's in like the top 20.
No, it's not that high. But it is.
You're right. No, it's in like the top 50, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
but
like it has an 8.5 IMDb, and there are, I don't know, like less than 100 movies that have that score in IMDb, and I will never in my life understand why.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, it's a fun movie, and that's about it for me.
And yeah, guys, just look forward to that video, and I want you to do me a favor. When it comes out, share the fuck out of it, because there is not a single video on YouTube that I have found that gives any form of true criticism to Back to the Future. So
No, because everyone's sucking its fucking dick.
Exactly. So I need your guys' help to help me get that video. And if somehow that's the video that goes viral on this channel, I will stand behind that 100%. So with that, we are now back to your regularly scheduled programming for the last 25 minutes or so. Case, let's talk about a movie that you and I both really, really like. And it takes place in a franchise that you and I both really, really like.
Love. You can say
Oh,
love.
yeah. No, we can straight up say we love it. It's my number 2 franchise after Star Wars, so... Star Trek.
It's in my top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And that being Star Trek Nemesis. I love this movie. I genuinely love it.
I like it so much, and I was honestly surprised to see that there are people who really dislike it or hate it even. And the only argument that people can only ever bring up against this movie, it has too much action. Do you want an example of a Star Trek movie with action, with a lot of action? The Wrath of Khan has quite a lot of action in it. It's no argument. First Contact has quite a lot of action in it. Undiscovered Country has quite a lot of action in it. Those are 3 of the best Star Trek movies. Star Trek 09, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Beyond all have action in it.
Star Trek Insurrection, as bad as it is, still has a shit ton of action in it.
That's the thing. So many Star Trek movies have action in it. So you cannot ever, in a million years, make the argument Star Trek Nemesis is bad because it has too much action. No. And what it does have is an extremely interesting concept with Shinzon, played brilliantly by Tom Hardy in one of his earliest roles. I will never understand the hate for this movie. Like, why do you... And, I get why people what Star Trek fans want from a Star Trek movie and Star Trek TV show, and that's exploring the galaxy and exploring interesting sci-fi concepts. But Nemesis, in my opinion, has that. And I'm like, and you get the Romulans. We hardly ever got the Romulans before Star Trek 09. So what is your argument for hating this movie? I don't get it.
Oh, well, because B4 is a terrible character. Fuck you. Because B4 is the perfect surrogate for the theme of this movie. And that theme is nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
And it's done so brilliantly well.
It's a brilliant concept. Like,
and plus, the thing is, the movie rewards you with knowledge from the show. Like here, for example, if you think about Data and B4, you're also thinking about lore in the back of your head because nature versus nurture. It was in lore's nature to turn evil, whereas B4 could be nurtured into being good. And same thing with Shinzon. Shinzon could have turned out good, like Picard, but instead, because of the way he was nurtured, he turned out evil. But Picard also sees that in the same exact situation, he also would have turned evil because of the way his nature is. It's just, it's so brilliant.
Yeah, and you see, I think Patrick Stewart is actually really good in this movie, where he is. You can clearly see him struggling with, the moment that he's confronted by Shinzon, he's like, "That's me. Huh? What is this?" And then throughout the movie, you see him like, "Oh, what if I had turned out that way? What if my path had been differently?" It is so interesting. It is such a great concept that I'm honestly like. I'm honestly like, this is one of my favorite Star Trek movies, or at least in the upper half of Star Trek movies.
It's my number 5.
And I don't know where exactly you have it, but Kim. Okay, I'll look up the list. Give me a sec.
Well, and as Jonathan Peck brought up, this is the last time that we see the Next Generation crew, and I think this is a great note for them to go out on. Because it should go out on Troy and Riker finally, answering the question of will they, won't they, and they decide yes, they are going to get married. We have Worf, who's accepting his responsibility and that he now knows he has to go back to Deep Space Nine and keep doing his thing. Or shit, we have Crusher, who she's content with the life that she has. Because she was struggling a little bit in the show, and you'll see that when you finally get around to a case. I know. Take your time.
Okay.
You'll get there. But it honestly, it was just. And Engel, listen, Undiscovered Country is just a great fucking film. Okay, no one's gonna dispute that.
Oh, that's my third favorite.
It's my number 2, and in fact. Yeah. And depending on what day of the week, I might even argue that as a film, it might even be better than Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, don't ask anyone about the Wrath of Khan, though.
Oh, that is a fun conversation. Good Lord. All right. But, Case, take us through your last pick for your hot take.
Everyone always keeps saying that the first Spider-Man is good. It's by Sam Raimi. The second Spider-Man is great, but the third one sucks. I grew up with this with the Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi. I saw him like mid 2000s for the first time, and I actually remembered trailers coming out for Spider-Man 3, and I was really looking forward to it. When Spider-Man 3 eventually came out and I saw it, I very much enjoyed it. I will and I will always defend this movie as saying it is a good movie. There now, look, of course, this movie has a couple of crazy, ridiculous things, especially when we get emo Parker. I get it. I like. I get that it's not necessarily good, but it's kind of on a level where it's bad, so bad it's good. It's funny. Like I ironically laugh at it. I will agree with most people on Eddie Brock. Topher Grace as Eddie Brock / Venom didn't work too well. But what I have always thought was extremely interesting about the movie is Black Spider-Man, where Peter gets a symbiote on him, gets the and gets a suit, and actually gives in a little bit more into his into his dark side, and then eventually is still strong enough to well. The thing is, he does so much bad things that he hurts Mary Jane, the woman he loves, and then he's like, okay, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. Also, the Sandman is fucking amazing. Anything that the Sandman does in this movie, always like I'm always amazed by like how great the CG is on the sand, how they create certain things, and I remember that the Nostalgia Critic also actually likes this movie, and he brought up a very valid point. This movie makes you gasp in awe about how amazing it is, and one of those moments is when we first see the Sandman become the Sandman. When Flint Marko has been completely reduced to sand, and then he slowly gets to his original shape. That scene is so beautiful. It's awesome. I love it every time I see it. And I think Thomas Hayden Church as the Sandman is very good in this movie. Gives a very good performance. And yeah, I just like the movie. I've always liked it, and I think it's a good movie. And I never really got that much. Like I didn't really get the argument where people say it's terrible, I hate it, blah blah blah. There are bad elements about the movie, but there are also a whole lot of good elements about this movie. So.
And that's what kind of where I'm at with you. Like, personally, I think there is too much going on in the movie. In my opinion, cut Venom out completely. Start toy. Excuse me.
Would have probably been better.
Yes, start toying with the idea of the symbiote. Like maybe introduce the symbiote in this movie, and introduce Eddie Brock. But don't introduce Venom yet. Maybe have him sort of be like the closing, post-credit scene or whatever. Do that sort of thing with him.
Because there was clearly a plan to do Spider-Man 4 after this, and I think that would probably have been a better call to indeed set up Venom for the next movie and have him not be played by Topher Grace.
Yeah, and what I actually find really fascinating about this movie is I genuinely love the sort of three-way story between Harry, Peter, and Mary Jane.
Yes.
I love that story.
Yes.
But it's not given nearly enough time because we had to put Venom in the fucking movie.
No, that's true. That's also something I found the relation between Mary Jane and Peter extremely interesting because Peter in the first and second movie is struggling to get that relation going. And of course, at the end of the second movie, Mary Jane is like, you know what, fuck it, I'll choose for you. I know that you're Spider-Man. I don't care. I love you. Awesome. And then the third movie challenges that again, like, but what if something goes wrong? What if he pushes her away with that dark side that he has? I thought it was great, and it was explored well, and especially with the ending, it fits so well because they don't make up completely. They just have a dance and the credits roll, and we're left to
assume.
Yeah, like, did they get together? We don't know. Spider-Man 4 would have confirmed that or not, but it's a good way to end that movie at least. And yeah, as you said, that's interesting between Harry, Mary Jane, and Peter.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Okay, Kees, remind me I gotta send you a link to something after we're done with the show because I think you'll actually dig it quite a bit. In regards to Spider-Man 3, as sort of a fun little what if, as it were.
Okay.
I'll send you a link to that once we're done. But now, yeah, I'm just gonna gush for about 4 minutes or so about a movie that I grew up with, that I adore, and that, dear God, it does not get enough credit. The Prince of Egypt. Not only do I think that this is DreamWorks' best film,
Ooh,
not
that's
only
a-
do I think this is one of the best animated films ever made, not only do I think it's one of the best films of the 90s, I think this is arguably the best movie ever based on the Bible. And I'm dead serious when I say this. Because here's the thing: you can make a good movie based on the Bible. I mean, you've got the 1959 Ben-Hur, you've got The Last Temptation of Christ, you've got you've got a lot of good movies.
Yeah, a lot of those are classics, though, old movies.
Yes.
So like the
You know-
the sort of Sandal type of movie isn't really popular these days anymore.
Unfortunately, I'll say, but and something that I actually also have to say. Hold on 1 second. Oh jeez. See, cool guy, I don't think liking The Prince of Egypt is a hot take. But I think my liking for it, and the fact that I'm actually willing to say it's the best movie based on the Bible, when there have been hundreds of movies based on the Bible, that's a hot fucking take.
By the way, it is a hot take to say that Prince of Egypt is the best DreamWorks and one of the best animated movies. That is definitely a hot take.
Yeah.
To be fair, The Prince of Egypt is just extremely underrated. No one has seen that movie, or not a lot of people have seen that movie. That's the issue.
And I would say the people who have seen it, they sort of disassociate for one of 3 reasons. One, it's a DreamWorks film. What is DreamWorks known for? You know, pop culture references, fast jokes, comedies. They're not really known for doing serious movies.
Oh, How to Train Your Dragon changed that a bit.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of good slapstick between Hiccup and Toothless in those movies.
That's true.
You know, or you also have got the tone and the themes of the movie. This movie's about slavery and genocide. How can you market this as a kids movie? They don't. It's an all ages movie. And there's a very legitimate difference between a kids movie and an all ages movie. You know,
It's a family film then. For the entire family. Like Inside Out.
Sort of.
It's a type of animated movie that every age can enjoy, and not just and it's not just for kids. And that's like Inside Out to me, for example.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I'm trying to say it like that is like, here, let me give a random example here. Excuse me. David Lynch's The Straight Story. It's not a kids movie. It's an adult drama, but it's rated G. There's no swearing in it. There's nothing too abstract or cerebral. There's no blood. There's no violence. But I still wouldn't recommend it to kids because some of the themes might go over their heads. You know, and again, David Lynch, rated G. Whoa. But
Yeah, when that happened, right?
I know. And it's probably one of his best films. Even stranger. But like, but that's one of the beautiful things about Prince of Egypt, is that it doesn't talk down to its audience. It shows people getting whipped while they're in slave work. It shows murder happen when Moses takes out one of the guards who is just abusing the shit out of this one slave. You know, it shows soldiers drowning as Moses parts the Red Sea and has to unpart it right as the Egyptian army is trying to catch up to them. Like, we see thousands of Egyptian children die when God sends the final plague. Like, this movie is so serious, and yet it's an animated musical with a celebrity cast, and it works brilliantly. Sorry, I'm just gushing right now.
Don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, no. And the last point of disassociation that I think people have with this movie is, let's face facts. Most biblical movies made in the last 30 years have been kitschy, child pandering crap. Because, what are they focused on? They're focused on teaching the lesson of the Bible. They're not focused on telling a story. This movie remembers to be a movie versus a Sunday school lesson.
Yeah.
And
that's something that kids don't want to see.
which there's a little bit more truth to that than I think any of us would care to admit. But, and it's one of those beautiful things where I have to remind myself, oh yeah, this is the Moses story, but we're watching it through the perspective of Moses and Ramesses and how this affects their relationship as brothers, because they're on two opposite sides. Like, this is again, here's the funny thing. Ridley Scott couldn't get this story right when he tried to do it. And, and I hate to say it, but this movie actually does it better than the Ten Commandments. And I do love the Ten Commandments as a movie, but the Ten Commandments is about 4 hours long. But that's because they also included everything that happens after the Israelites get out of Egypt.
Yeah, it's a bit boring.
But this is the more interesting side of the story. I don't care about seeing Moses get the Ten Commandments. I want to see, how did Moses get all the Israelites out?
Yeah.
And come on, Ray Fiennes as Ramesses, and he sings. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well, Ralph Fiennes should voice more.
He's done quite a bit, but yes, he needs to do more voice work just everywhere.
Like, I absolutely adored him as Alfred in the Lego Batman movie.
Oh my god. So funny. Oh.
In 2016, in 2012, in 2008, in 1997, the entire thing. And even that weird one in 1966. And then later on, he comes in as the originally dressed Batman from '66 on Mr. 60.
Absolutely.
Like Ralph Fiennes, yeah, he should voice more.
Hell yeah. But no, like I hope for those of you who haven't seen this one, or maybe it's been a long time since you've seen it, please give it a rewatch.
I should put it on my movies to watch list.
Please do.
But there are a lot on that one.
Oh, I know there's a lot on there. I know. And here's the case. I know one day you'll get to it. I'm not trying to rush you or anything, but one day you'll get to it, and I'll be really happy when you do. But, you actually did mention real fast that Irina wanted a couple she wanted shouted out. Did you want to give a shout out to that real fast?
The thing is, Irina, there are a couple that I still have, but I asked Irina before when we were on Skype earlier today, like, what would be a movie that you like and you don't like? She absolutely loves Magic Mike XXL. I have seen that movie since, and it is a lot of fun. It honestly is. The first Magic Mike I honestly couldn't care for. We couldn't even finish that movie. We got like an hour and a half in, and we switched it off because, because what we both kind of agreed on, the original Magic Mike from Steven Soderbergh was a little too serious with the male stripper concept. And Magic Mike XXL just goes balls to the wall, all out, has so much fun with it, and doesn't even care. And look, the movie has some. It's not perfect or anything, but it's just fun. Are you ready to be heartbroken?
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. He
Oh.
doesn't like. Yeah.
Oh.
It's the thing. I've seen it with her. I very much enjoyed it, but she was just sitting there for 2 hours. Like
Oh.
she doesn't get it. She doesn't like it. I don't know. Um, that's painful.
Well, at least at least then this proves you two aren't a completely perfect couple. Just
No,
perfect
no,
in every other way.
we have disagreed on movies. Like for example, one of her favorite movies of all time, 500 Days of Summer. I didn't care for much. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't think was all that great. So,
Hmm.
you know, we have our differences, but luckily that like the most important things we agree on. Like
Yeah.
for her, it's Picture. For me, it's Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. We're good in that regard.
Well, and that's the great thing about having these quote unquote hot takes is that these differences actually just invite good conversation. And guys, seriously, I'm so happy that all of you were participating in the chat the whole time. Seriously, like that means so much. And as this channel continues to grow, like I can only imagine the kind of conversations we're going to be having in the future with all of you. It's going to be fun. And as we close out this D2A anniversary, Case, what do you what do you want to happen between now and then?
When it's then,
Now and next D2 anniversary.
I want a Schmodown award. Selfishly, I know. Yeah, I would also like to get to a point where my computer isn't that shitty anymore, so I can actually, stream
Go back.
myself.
I was gonna say go back to using a computer.
Yeah, like properly using a computer to stream on, um, because yeah, well, that's just needed, and then maybe do new shows at one point, because right now I feel like we do Who Cares Anyway podcast and Shimona reactions. Um, that's what I regularly do. We have Down to Dissection, but I've only appeared on one of those, and I don't really think I'll be showing up there anytime soon because yeah, you guys are the music fans, not me. Um, so it would be nice to figure out another show to do besides this.
Yeah.
And of course, the Schmodown Award, and a belt or two in like the Star Wars and Inner Geekdom division. It's difficult, I know, but I am studying my fucking ass off in terms of definitely geek.
You are.
No, look, I honestly think I have a legit shot at geek when that tournament is finally over and Robert Parker is the fucking champion.
Unless I pull the miracle of the year, but that's not likely to happen. No.
Unlike, look,
Very
I think you're good at geek, but it's pretty much always been where I'm a little bit better than you in terms of geek. And Star Wars, on the other hand, we are so similar that it's crazy, and it will be. We will probably be in the final against each other, and it will probably be who misses first.
Yep.
That's kind of it.
Literally.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Hey, I'm studying in terms of both geek and Star Wars because you can study both at the same time. Yay!
You can.
So yeah, that's pretty much the goals I have. What about you?
Literally, my goals are honestly very simple. I want to make a career out of this. Not necessarily out of this channel specifically, because that's going to be really fucking hard. But I mean YouTube. Like, if let's say I'm doing this channel, let's say I'm doing a music channel with my brother, where let's say once a month he and we put together a set list of music. We hire a band and we play that set, and we take super chats for that. Dude, that'd be the goddamn life. But you know what?
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. With the kind of music that he and I have been working on lately, I honestly think it could happen. Because you put him and I in a room together, and the music that we write is just magic. It's the same thing as when, I put myself on a podcast with you and Nico. What happens? Magic.
We have fun.
We have fun.
We have a lot of fun. And depending on the conversation, like the topic that we have, we are either at each other's throats, or we just have a lot of fun.
Exactly.
We have fun in general.
Yeah, we have fun. And that's definitely going to be the case in the coming weeks, because I can't confirm an official date yet, but I have finally remembered to reach out to our dear friends over at Critically Acclaimed, and yes, they will be on the show in October to talk about arguably the greatest genre ever made in film, that being horror.
Disagree.
I know. But yeah,
I'm
guys.
enjoying the genre more and more, though, now that I've seen a couple of more movies, but it's still not one of my favorites.
That's fair. But yeah, so guys, until then, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We want to thank you all so much for just being awesome and being here with us, because you guys are all awesome. Without you, it doesn't happen. In case, where may the good folks find you online?
One last time,
Hell
of
yeah.
course. I mean, come on. Keep them going. Also, hashtag give Nico a job. He might not be here, but, well, he might not be here on the show, but he's here in our heart. Cliche.
Aw.
I know. I was thinking about saying it. I was like, this is going to sound so cliche. So, okay. Anyway, in the meantime, you can follow me at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, on Letterboxd, making a whole lot of lists like these. I actually most recently made 2 lists. Movies I don't like as much as others. Movies I like a lot more than others. Check those out for my hot takes, because there are definitely a whole lot of takes in those lists. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd and Facebook, Kees Cornelisse, simply my name. And I think that's about it. Yeah, we will be reacting to Mike versus Janine either tomorrow or the day after. Depends on our schedules a little bit. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. And, of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord over at... wow, let me start that again. Jesus Christ. You guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page and join our Facebook group dedicated to art. And, yeah, stay tuned for all the shit coming up. Resistance coming back. So fucking happy about that. Stay tuned for next week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast, where we're going to be starting to dive into some horror stuff, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And, of course, guys, we all have our own opinions. We all have our own crazy hot takes. And I'm going to be putting a lot of work into this Back to the Future video essay. So it's going to mean the effing world if you guys can like, comment, and share the hell out of it all across social media. I would really appreciate it once it drops, and I will keep you guys updated as I'm working on it. So until then, you know what to do. Take care!
Yeah.